Today's video is the Hawkeye main's guide to success. Some things you can do to work around certain counters, certain team comps, general knowledge, familiarization, and a lot of tips and tricks for every hero are at the end of the video, and I will timestamp everything for you. Thanks.
Never miss.
Hawkeye is probably one of the easiest characters to learn. He's the best hero in the game. There are no other heroes that are as good as him, so really just by picking him, you're securing your place in the halls of being the best. You can get 2 charges from Hawkeye, okay? You get one that is the meter that goes to 100 and then makes a sound. Also, you'll notice once you're at full charge, your bow turns pinkish purple and it's got some electricity on it. Adds exactly, right now anyways, 80 damage, and in the patch notes it got brought down to 70, okay? So you have your charge and your draw. I'm going to use those 2 terms because it's kind of important to separate them. Your draw is when the little circle around the reticle disappears. That is the draw portion, and the charge portion is the number that goes from 0 to 100 and makes the sound. If I just click the button, 6, 34, I'm just clicking, 17, 25, 30. Like, you don't have very much control over the number of charge. You're gonna need 50 charge to kill a Luna Snow. However, that's only a one-shot headshot if you're fully drawn. And the reason that's important is because your draw strength and your charge strength both vary based on how long they're active. If you're fully drawn, you'll do your 92 damage or whatever, and then you gain your charge, and then it adds damage from 1 to 70. You're just losing 5% out of your seasonal bonus, so it went from 20 to 15, and your charge went from 80 to 70, so might take a millisecond more charging time. Flick shotting and hoping for the 43. 250 heroes, you're much better off. As I said before, Hawkeye is a medium to long range fighter. Tomorrow, on January 10th, however, he's going to lose some of the distance in which he can build up his charge. So instead of 60 meters, which is what it is today, tomorrow it will be 40 meters. This doesn't mean you cannot kill things far away. This just means you have to try harder to hit things far away. You're not a hit scan character. Hit scan is literally wherever you pointed and clicked, that's where the shot will end up immediately, right? That's hit scan. Because it is a projectile, that means it will have drop. Now if you hold it longer, it will drop less quickly. There aren't very many places in these maps that your fully charged shots aren't able to hit the target because they drop too far. My standard rule of thumb is your charge is less important than your draw, because it's impossible to get a full charge without a full draw. Knowing that, sometimes you will be unable to get charge on someone because you're too far away. If you know you're closing in on distance, what you can do is peek around corners, move closer. When you're in open combat, your draw is still more important than your charge because you need your maximum damage from the draw, which now, as of January 10th, is going to deal more damage than your charge will regardless. So you're more likely to get a headshot and kill something if your draw was maxed out before you started aiming towards their head. And the reason why I'm not talking about the special occasions where you pepper or up-close engagements, because your primary focus as Hawkeye, because you have the ability to and no one else does, is to land headshots that kill opponents and maximize your damage against squishies and tanks when applicable. So there are always other situations that you may not want to fully charge. It doesn't change the fact that if you could, it would be better. If you're behind a wall and then you go out and then you charge and draw at the same time, you're just leaving yourself open. Draw, get your charge, peek, kill. So just remember that your draw is more important than your charge most of the times. You're getting more damage out of your draw than you are the charge, and that's cool. Hawkeye's abilities are simple. I know he has a 4-star difficulty, but it's not his abilities that give him this difficulty. It's his positioning and his aim. Your jump is your only movement ability. You usually use your jump at the beginning of a round to get to a favorable position. The enemies are going to be coming out of this stairway, right? You would jump up here, right, with your super jump, and then you'd have access to places you normally wouldn't. Don't always use it as a backing up tool. I see a lot of Hawkeyes just go like this. Doing that just makes you the easiest target ever, and even just adding sway on your way back can help people miss you. Generally what you want to do is, if you're trying to escape with this, just know where you need to go, jump the opposite direction, and then quickly jump to get to where you need to go. A little less easy to hit, and you're more unpredictable, or even a skilled player that thinks you're going to do something, so they fire to where they think you're going to go, and then you're in the opposite location. That's why whenever you're firing, you don't want to hold and only move right, even though it helps you. And it's a lot easier for you to stay on target. So like the more random your movement is, the better, or the harder it is for the enemy to hit you. His shift is his wakizashi or katana slash, right? If someone's in your personal space, you hit this button and they're no longer in your personal space. It also does a decent chunk of damage. So you can use it to finish off squishies, or if like a tank's all up in your face, or one of the divers dives you and you're by yourself. You want to keep this ability off cooldown. Use it when you have no other choice. Very good for getting Spider-Man off of you, Black Panthers away from you, Iron Fist as long as he's not blocking a 5-meter radius, 180-degree slash, so it's literally everything in front of you. Your next ability is your E, or your Sonic Boom. Your Sonic Boom has a deceptively long range because it looks the same no matter where you fire it. Okay, so it just feels like it doesn't go as far as it does. Yeah, roughly like 100 meters is your fall off, like 80 to 100. So you're not able to hit anything with this at this range. Like I said before, most of the things in this game, or most of the positions in this game, aren't going to be that far away. Because not only does it do 2 attacks, right? So that first blip of damage is its arrival, and the second is its explosion, right? So both of them dealing, it looks like, the same amount of damage, but it can finish off targets that are like 25% or less most of the time. It's supposed to be used for flying targets, but just don't get mad whenever you shoot a flying target and nothing happens, because it needs to be wherever the character is on its second blast to drop someone to the floor. So the first one doesn't do anything but tell the enemy that they just got hit with your Sonic. Like if I had to make an adjustment to anything in his kit, aside from the blast arrows, do the Sonic Boom and make it to where the first part explosion knocks down enemies. The other use you have for this is shooting people around corners. It's a little inconsistent. It does a small slow. Look for these little black lines. Yeah, so it slows, it does damage, it's a decent ability. You're pretty vulnerable when using it. There's a flying hero, save it for the flying hero, but other than that, just use it whenever you need it. So those are your main abilities, and then your passive ability, like we talked about before, is your charge. Like I said before, draw your bow first, gain the charge, and then attack. But sometimes, if you move too fast, you won't gain any charge at all. Like you are intended to aim at something or near something to gain that charge. So even if you go past them really quickly, sometimes it won't charge at all. So just keep that in mind. So once you're fully charged, get on target, and then you can either fire on them or fire at someone else for 100% damage. And that's essentially the way we're getting around the distance nerf that we just got, and not many people use this feature at all. You have a deflect, and it's actually really easy to land if you just spam it. So like this is just me holding down the melee button, And as you can tell, it's pretty generous, but you can actually mitigate a crap ton of damage by spamming that on disengages. So for instance, if you shoot them away from you and you need to back up and you don't have your jump or something, just back up and spam your melee attack and you will take less damage on average. So yeah, it's extremely, just practice doing that anytime you're not engaging something and it'll be a lot easier to remember to use it. Plus I like it because it gives you something to do on your off time, right? If you just have your freaking melee spamming. I got ADHD, so gotta stay active, okay? Alright, and then the ultimate. Ultimate's really cool. It gives you full charge immediately. You can headshot during your ultimate. But like I said, this is the only time your charge meter gives you an accurate representation of how much damage you would do on different pull rates, different draws. So I hear a lot of people say that shooting faster is a bad idea here. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the medium shots are the best during the ult. And the reason I say that is because, but if you release just a little bit sooner during your ultimate, you still have your full damage bonus from your passive, and then you add on however much of that draw that you got. I really think that upon clicking the button and waiting for the charge, it's at least a second and a few milliseconds. The actual drawing of the bow might be 0.9 and the charge might be 0.9, but actually lifting your bow and then reloading an arrow and doing it again, like that's where that time is coming from. It's all going to be up to personal preference. Generally, I like calling it peppering. Like peppering during your ultimate, I think, is the best way to maximize damage. Like I feel like when I draw all the way to 100, I feel extremely committed. So I want to be extremely accurate with the shot, and then you end up missing a little bit more because you're taking too much time thinking. So less thinking, more killing is how I'm thinking about it. Your ultimate's used as a disruption. Ensures the enemy is focused on you. So this is a good ult to use when other members of your team have ults, because it's very easy to get a Luna or a Mantis ult if you're just standing near them, even if overrun by like 3 other heroes nearby. Like, healers know how quickly arrows just melt enemies, so they will a lot of the times burn their ults, so that just helps your team in general. Don't use it when you need to, or when you think you can help your team by giving them a little bit of breathing room. You'll hear a lot about creating space for your team as a tank, but I think ultimate's an extremely good DPS create space for the rest of your team. For instance, a good example of this is Hawkeye, right? Because if he's sitting somewhere in the corner, just pounding away at their backline, that means that one flanker or one tank has to avert their attention to you, because if the tank's focused on you, or they have to turn to you and you're at an off angle, that means they're not blocking the rest of the damage from the rest of the team. It's just a very good ult to secure kills. Just if you need to counter his ult, just remember that if you stand behind a wall, you still have a 1 second for the after image to not deal any damage. So you still might get killed as soon as you round a corner. So if you're wondering why that's happening, it's because there is a little bit of a delay before those clones don't deliver damage. I can't hammer it home enough. Like, you just need to constantly use your melee when you're disengaging. While you're moving from one place to another, Hawkeye arrows, you can block hella bolts, you can shock like an entire shotgun spread. You can block the entire thing. You can block like 4 bullets at a time from like Star-Lord with one of your melees. These damage numbers add up, especially since your health pool is so low. When Spider-Man do that attack on you, you can prevent them from getting on you with your shift, okay? And after you use your shift, they'll go in the same direction every time, depending on where you sent them. Get in the habit of charging your bow right after you push someone away, because a lot of Spider-Men know to disengage, but some don't, and this is the time where they're most vulnerable, when they're about to go for a swing. Need to look out for this little spider web above your head, right? If that spider web is above your head, you're about to get, just assume you're about to get jumped on by Spider-Man, okay? Wait for them to put their webs on your body, and then hit shift, okay? That will prevent you from getting one shot if they have symbiote, and will most likely get them to disengage and engage someone else. So if there's a Spider-Man on the enemy team, just save your shift for them. Another quick tip is that Punishers are extremely vulnerable. Not only can you break their turret relatively fast, you can headshot them on their turret. Repositioning and getting to a spot where you can see his head is the most effective way. But if that's impossible, right, so if he's attacking on this side of you, quickly get a fully charged shot, and then you just use that charge to get the damage on the turret. Destroy the turret, and then you can kill Punisher easily. Against enemy Hawkeyes, my best advice to you, unless you're extremely confident, avoid Hawkeyes altogether. Wait for them to focus on your team. Even if you make a shot and then you miss it, that chance of you killing him was a lot better than you trying to duke it out with another Hawkeye player. You know how much damage you can do, so he can do the exact same amount. Make a mental note that if it's a decent Hawkeye, just stay away from him. Even if he's murdering your people, like, unless you have really good cover or strange, it's still not worth it to feed into another Hawkeye, rather than just getting a better position and killing him. That goes for a lot of heroes, but Hawkeye especially, Hawkeye and Hela. For right now, I'm just gonna hit the hardest characters to go up against. Hulk is most vulnerable when he's in his little state, and you can deal, I think, the second most or third most damage in the entire game to a Hulk that's in your face, because of your immense headshot damage, and his head is very easy to hit. So if you just spam arrows into his head, wait for him to go little, and then shoot him in the face, that is your best strategy. However, if it's a good Hulk, what he'll do likely is continuously jump really close to you and beat the shit out of you, and you'll get really overwhelmed most of the time. And if their shield's up, don't even bother. You're gonna have to deal with that shield. It's 200 damage to kill it. A lot of the times it's better to just wait it out. Try to get to your team during this time. Otherwise, essentially that means that you can 3-shot a Hulk. Even with the nerfs, it's going to be a 3-shot. He's one of your easiest targets. Wait for him to jump. Try to guide yourself to where he's going to be. You want to stay away from them, but it's almost impossible to stay away from a good Hulk. Like, you need to kill the walls. And like I said before, you're pretty decent at dishing damage to these walls. Actually put your charge on something else. And then after that charge happens, you can see the shield just went to 508 in one shot. This is Hawkeye's job. If there's nothing to charge to, it will take longer. Using that can give a little bit of burst. The other walls have less health, so if you get full charge off of one of the enemies, it will go down in 2 shots. A lot of health, but you also deal a lot of damage. His head is very easy to hit, and he moves very slow. That he has the ability to get Jeff the Landshark and Rocket Raccoon on his shoulders. I think this is one of the most vulnerable spots for them to be, because Groot moves so slow. So getting high ground advantage, you can actually shoot them in one shot if you hit their head, kill them, and then kill Groot, eliminating the support and the tank. Good players will see you and probably not sit on the shoulder. Venom, as soon as he web swings in, he's vulnerable for 8 seconds. During this time, you need to make sure that he pops his E. He can pressure you and kill you because his damage is so high, right? Like, jump and stagger your spacing to where he can't constantly just point and click your head over and over and over again. He needs to be able to aim at your head. Hardest two are your shields, your shield peeps. Magneto's vulnerable after his bubble is gone. 12-second cooldown. Okay, so after that is up, you have 12 seconds. And in between his 3-second cooldown for his shield that is the time you shoot him in the face. If he's ulting, do not shoot your arrows. Shooting your arrows during his ultimate will just make his ultimate stronger and kill your team. His attacks don't go very far. Keep your distance and generally you'll be fine. Doctor Strange is the exact same, okay? Except for the fact that his shield has 800 health, okay? And it comes back in like 2 seconds after it's broken and it starts to recharge. So once again, you have the capability of destroying that shield really fast. Getting full charge on something else and shooting the shield is helpful for your team, and it makes him have to reposition quicker. So if you have nothing else to shoot at, get that shield out of the way, give your team a tiny bit of room to punish him for losing his shield. Doctor Strange has one-shot potential. Alright, so at 100 charge, if he hits you in the face, he presses E, extremely strong if he has full charge, okay? And he can animation cancel after his explosion to hit you faster, so you'll die in literally like a second. If his cape is glowing like this, stay away from him. Yeah. Your Penny Parker's counter in every single way. Even if you don't think you are, okay? This is just like any other thing in the game that you have to destroy, except it only has 350 HP. If this thing is on the floor, that means your team can't walk in this area. Every spider that's generated goes to whoever steps on the web, okay? And this is constant, and this thing never goes away unless it's destroyed. She has the ability to place mines. Like if there's a Penny Parker, she's gonna do this, okay? In front of doorways. So when you nonchalantly walk over here, it's really hard to do looking at the other. You can die instantly, okay? So the way you can survive this, and not every character can, but Hawkeye counters her very well because of this. Let's say we have our 4 mines right here. You walk on them, and you can jump away, right? Obviously don't jump in the web. But if you see or hear the explosion about to happen, just do a double jump, get out of the way, and you'll be fine. Once again, she is very easy to headshot. Not only is her head large, but her shoulder pads give you a very easy way to look at her. They're very easy to headshot, and because of the 800 health, it takes 3 shots, just like anyone else if it's a fully charged headshot. During her ult, I like to just get to a higher position using my jump and waiting for her to stop. Thor's different, so if you see a Thor, he doesn't have any actual cooldowns, if that makes sense. So he can use all of his abilities at any time as long as he has enough hammers. The minute he uses 2 abilities, he's already at 800 life, meaning you can no longer 2-shot him. The important thing with Thor is to wait for him to use this attack, right? It does incredible damage. But during that time and after that time, he can no longer gain that extra couple hundred life points because he's stuck in this animation. So that is the time right after that's over to try to kill him, like right near the end. If you ever see this on the floor, don't walk through it. The only cooldown he has is his E. He automatically gains a hammer if he can catch you with that E. So don't get too close to him, don't stand in his E. Also, keep in mind that whenever this is charging, he will tick you for like 25 damage per second, and he does so much damage up close to you. If you see him set his sights on you, just leave. Get next to your team, hope for the best, and land a couple headshots and he'll die. During the ult, he doesn't gain any shield, okay? So you can actually just one-shot him out of the sky. As far as DPS, you do well against Punishers, as we talked about. Storms are flying all the time. Obviously the best practice against flying heroes is to aim train against flying heroes. A little bit harder than Iron Man because her movement's a little faster because of her passive. peeking a sniper is never really a good idea. Okay, so that is the same for Hawkeye as it is for Hela. Stay away from Widow, even if you are fully convinced that Hawkeye is the best hero. She can still kill you faster than you can kill her if you miss a single arrow. Make sure she can't see you. Try to get a well-aimed headshot and end it there. Like, your job is to out-snipe the snipers, yes, but it's also to survive. Don't put yourself in situations where you're just gonna die by her. Squirrel, she's honestly not usually that big of a problem. The only bit of her that is a problem is the fact that she can essentially kill you from an area that you can't see. If you see where the balls are coming from, don't run in that direction to try to get her. Run around, like find another area of approach, because she can just lead her explosions and you can't. So like, they're not usually gonna rush you, but if they do, that's when they're most vulnerable. It's a lot easier to miss her little balls if you're moving around. Just against her, just get away from the explosions and try to flank her, get to a better position to where you can see her, she can't see you, or just get out of her memory until she's attacking the rest of your team and then kill her. Iron Man, same thing as Storm, it's just really easy to hit. Be patient with her. A lot of people get frustrated and tilted a little bit when this chick is just holding the attack button on you and you keep missing and she kills you every time. Just notice her attack patterns. If she's jumping a lot, like, keep that in mind. If she's moving in one direction all the time, like, that will help. If she's going back and forth, aim for the middle of wherever she's jumping and you'll kill her a lot of the times. She's most vulnerable when coming out of this because she'll usually float down. Flying slow target is a lot easier to hit than a teleporting one. This is her stun. It stuns you like once per half second, so don't walk into it. And then her ultimate's very easy to counter. As soon as you see the exclamation mark, just line of sight, get behind a wall, or if you're in a position to do so, just kill her with a single headshot. Namor is one of your greatest enemies, but you're also very good against Namor because your damage is higher and you have the ability to one-shot his turrets. Always kill his turrets first. If you're able, because they will kill you before he will, because one well-placed headshot and a few shots from one of his sea monsters will murder you. If he has two out, you're basically screwed. So killing those as fast as possible is way more of a priority than trying to beef it out with him, especially not if you're close range and you have to charge your shots. He's just going to out DPS you unless you can land a perfect headshot on him. If you can get an easy headshot, all of his turrets die anyways, so... Oh, okay. Star-Lord is probably one of the hardest things to kill if they're playing well. He's very mobile, he can really get in your face, but he does have a little bit of a pause after he finishes his dash, right? So... keeping that in mind, that is his vulnerable point. Like, if he's dashing and you can flick shot him at the end or beginning of his dash, that would be preferable, because as soon as he starts getting all up in your face and then flipping, and he's completely invulnerable during his flips. He only has 2 flips within a short time period, but if he spaces them out properly, it can seem like he has infinite flips. Most Star-Lords don't double flip like that, so if you get used to knowing where he's roughly going to end up after his flip, it's a lot easier to land your headshot on him, because he'd have to respond in an instant. Hawkeye's very predictable if all they're doing is this. So Star-Lord's a little pesky, and he can be extremely oppressive because of the amount of damage he does, but keep your distance from this dude, okay? If there is a Winter Soldier on the enemy team, you will die every time. One of the only other characters that can basically one-shot people with his combo, like him and Magic and like a couple others can, but like even if you're a little bit low, you're gonna die to this dude. He can just combo really well, especially if they know how to play the character. I don't, but he also gains shield, so a lot of the times when you think you're going to one-shot him, you won't, because his health has been going up steadily. Max goes up to 400. Your 20% season buff only goes up to 384. So yeah, you won't be able to one-shot him after his full combo. If he is ulting, if you jump into his ultimate, you'll still get hit. Just because you dodged the ultimate doesn't mean you're not going to die. You need to either kill him or get behind your team or get distance with your shift, because he is very oppressive and he will kill you. If he's good, he will kill you every time he lands a hook. He's super easy to counter. Just don't shoot him when he's doing this. When he has his hand on his head, don't shoot him, because if you do, he can no longer get one shot. I'll show you a quick example. Can literally block anything. The only way he gets more is by pressing E to get 50 more health, blocking for an extra 100 health, so 450. Once again, you can no longer one-shot him after he's done this. You need to keep your distance from this dude, because Wolverine is going to be too tanky and too oppressive to do anything against. The only thing that you have going for you is that if he grabs you and does not have full rage, he might not one-shot you, so you can still press shift to get away from him. His range for his right click is the exact same range you're going to push him away, so most of the time you're either going to have to headshot him through his passive, so that means at least 2 if not 3 headshots. 300 health. His passive will save him. Okay, so you're one of the only characters that can burn his passive, right? Which is awesome. But if he has his damage resistance on, he takes so much less damage. You need to fight him when he's busy with someone else. This is the way you're going to kill him. If he's trying to come at you, you just need to leave. Get it as far away from him as possible. Try to get distance and then kill him. And you're immobilized for... I was holding the movement button down. I'll do it again. That's how long you're disabled for after being charged. So that's the reason why you usually die a lot against Wolverine, is because he'll grab you and then you'll have like a full second and a half of just being helpless. So yeah, just try to stay away from Wolverine. Psylocks are really hard to deal with too, because of the crazy amount of pressure they put on you at close ranges and their mobility with their dash. Okay, the easiest way to kill a Psylocke is going to be after a dash. After a Psylocke goes invisible, they're usually either, like if they're low on health, they're trying to get away from you, and if they are not low on health, they're doing it to distract you. Okay?
Farewell.
And they only have, what, 3 seconds? 3 seconds of invisibility. So in that 3 seconds, you need to gain as much distance from the opposite direction of wherever she was at, and just have your left shift ready in case she moved with you. But let's see. I'm pretty sure you can hear her footsteps. Yeah, so sometimes you can hear her footsteps, so you're going to know roughly in what direction she's going to be at. You turn towards the direction that they were facing when they invisibilitied. Or if you know there's a health pack, let's say there's a health pack right there, you would just basically watch the health pack. Hold your aim at the health pack for like a couple seconds, and then release fire. And a lot of the times you can kill a Psylocke going to heal. And they'll think you're like cheating, but it's just, it works a lot more than I thought it would. So once again, like, you're capable of blocking both of her attacks back to back. She has 16, so basically eight burst fires to attack with, and she'll miss a decent amount of them most of the time. So if you can block a few, that means she'll have to reload, and that means she'll be vulnerable. Backing up, getting close to your team when a Psylocke is nearby is the best play, just because of the fact that you'll have a lot easier time killing her with your teammates around, because she excels in close range one-on-ones. She doesn't do very well when more than a few characters are looking at her. The second easiest character to headshot in the game. If he's crawling on walls and stuff, let him go. If you can't kill him while he's doing this, then don't bother. Like, if your aim isn't amazing and you can't hit a fucking crawling target, just ignore Rocket Raccoon and let him get back to healing, because as long as he's on the wall, he's not healing his team. Kill these as soon as possible if you see them, because they revive the enemy team. He only has 2 shifts, so if he uses both of them at the end of his second shift, he'll be extremely vulnerable to a couple body shots or a single headshot. Mantis is getting nerfed, okay? So her speed is going to go from 2.5 to 1.5, which is drastic. Instead of this movement speed, she'll be moving closer to that. I don't know. This will mean that she's going to be a lot less mobile and a lot easier to kill with your headshots. If you found it really difficult to hit a Mantis sprinting around you, don't worry, you're not the only one. But they're nerfing it, so hopefully it should be a lot easier to kill her. She has a sleep that has a giant AoE. And you don't even have to be in it to be slept. If your teammate has this thing behind them, shoot it and you can help wake them up. But this ability has a 15-second cooldown. 14, 15. So use that to your advantage, because if you get slept, likely you're gonna get headshot to death, because as soon as she hits the first one, you have a tiny millisecond before you can move again, and she'll shoot you again. And if you had any less health, you're most likely just gonna die. Like, you shouldn't ever really have to be in this distance with a Mantis unless she's chasing you. So try to pick them off at a distance, because the less sleeps that she has for your team, the better your team's gonna do. Loki is awesome when it comes to fighting him as Hawkeye, because Loki does 2 things good for you. So you can gain charge off of his clones. Not only can you charge on his clones, but you can tell which one is the real one. Only one of them made a sound, and it's the real one, obviously. Be able to hear his footsteps while he's invisible. You can use them to gain charge on a farther target, so you can gain your 100% patch releases. You can get your fully charged headshots or a quick charge off of them and flick over to an enemy, and it's extremely useful. Okay, so remember, getting your charge off of a clone is next level strat, okay? Adam Warlock, when he uses this ability and there's little balls around all the team, you deal a lot less damage to them, but you're one of the only characters that is able to remove that circle extremely fast. Maximum damage shared per target, so if you can hit a fully charged headshot or 2 half to fully charged body shots, you can get rid of the circle, and you can, like, if a Black Panther was trying to kill them, you can fastly remove that circle so the Black Panther can confirm the kills. Just know that when that circle's up, you're not going to one-shot anyone. Don't close range try to kill an Adam Warlock if he's rushing you. Get behind cover, like, get away from him, because of his headshots are so ridiculous if you're close. If you're farther away, they do a lot less, right? But yeah, if you're close and he has any decent aim at all, you're gonna just get melted by Adam Warlock. If he's doing this, just move sporadically and he won't be able to hit you with all the shots. The last thing for Loki is, once he has this healing field up. It doesn't last for very long, and people will tell you to shoot these bricks. And I really don't think that is a proper use for your time. I mean, the only time it is if you charge a shot and then hit the brick. It's a one shot kill. Okay, but if you just try to sit there and you won't be able to kill it in one shot. So just remember to gain a little bit of charge from the clone before you shoot the rock. Okay. Luna has a snow, but you can Luna has a snow. Luna has a stun, right? And you're one of the only characters that can deflect it. So just remember that if you're getting run up on by a Luna Snow and she's trying to kill you and you start getting the upper hand, she's probably going to throw one of these at you, right? And you can tell by the little animation that she does. She makes like a little spiral with both her hands. That's how you know she's about to try to stun you. And it's a relatively slow moving projectile, so you are actually able to deflect it with your basic attack. With the new changes coming out for Jeff, it looks like his ultimate won't get you after you jump. So I guess my advice now for Jeff is to just as soon as the nom 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 sound happens, and then you'll be able to dodge the ultimate. You can slow him with your E once he's in shark mode to easily hit the fin. You can also use your ultimate to hit his fin, but he'll still heal through it. Kill Jeff anytime you can, because he is extremely hard to hit when he's being a troll, and he's the most easiest character to hit, like when he's not underground. So easiest character to one shot, only 250 health. With the new changes to Hawkeye, it's really important to remember that distance that you're losing, just remember that if this target thing exists where you have a target closer, you can kill Jeffs from farther away still. You just need to time your charges and practice flicking from this distance. That's my main tip for Hawkeye, has to be the flicking. Just learning how to flick and then learning how to gain charge off of one thing and kill something else is extremely important. But yeah, that's it for the hero counters. I mean, obviously, you just need to shoot his Ankh every time. He's relatively easy to hit while he's in the air. This animation takes so long, so like, even after he hits the grappling hook, you can still shoot him in the face before he leaves the ground. People jump in an arc, right? So they go like that. You just hit him at the top of his jump, and that's where he's most vulnerable. He's not very good at long range damage unless he has an Ankh. Or if you're grouped up with your team, he can just throw one Ankh and it'll bounce through all of you. My hidden tip of the day is don't forget to cancel your draw sometimes. A lot of people, what they'll do is, like, if someone moves out of vision, they'll just shoot, and then they'll, on PC, it's you just hit your right click button, okay, to stop this charge from happening. Because all you're doing, if you're near someone and you draw, but you miss it, but then you shoot, you're revealing your location to whoever didn't know you were there, now knows you're there. So now you have to use that time to reposition, when you could have just as easily been less detectable by just not firing the arrow. This is true when it comes to someone rushing you from behind or something. Don't take all the time to hold your bow and turn around. Like, even though this seems like it's fast, like, you still have to retarget acquire, and if you're moving at the same time, you move like almost 2 times slower when you've drawn your arrow. So you're just losing mobility, you're losing the jump on certain enemies when you're just kind of blindly firing. Yeah, so just remember to undraw your bow, and hopefully that helps a little bit. The next video we're gonna do is gonna be less about mechanics and more about aiming. Okay, so stay tuned for that.
Operations and leave the building utilizing the nearest exit